Hey everyone out there. For those following from earlier when I was out in that blizzard, I looked it up and we're looking at about 8 to 15 inches of snow. Temperature is not too bad. Temperature is about 30 degrees. I got 19-mile-an-hour winds out there. So, hey Kimberly, how's it going? So, D-Boy, welcome. So anyways, let me get into this story here. There's a thing on Zero Hedge circulating. The article basically says, is Amazon about to start one of the largest cryptocurrency exchanges? It's speculation at this point. Who knows, right? But you know what people are noticing is Amazon's bought 3 crypto domains. One of them had Ethereum in it. One of them just said cryptocurrencies in it. And I think a couple of those we knew about a couple of months ago. But North of Utopia, welcome. Oak-Age, welcome. And right now it's saying in the article, and I don't know if this is coming straight from Amazon, but to say there's not enough demand yet on Bitcoin to accept it. And Richard, welcome. And they said they just could be protecting their brand. That could be the reason that they have these domain names. The article goes on to talk a lot about how this could be a great opportunity in the future. There's so much room for growth for Amazon as well as just the industry in and of itself. So the question is Amazon considering something like that? It'd be interesting. I mean, look at what Overstock did, right? They just made that mistake, though, with Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash. But Overstock decided to accept cryptos because it's just another form of payment. Opens up more demand for their products where people move over to Overstock instead of maybe Amazon, right? So it depends on how competitive the landscape gets. I mean, I think if, hey Magic Brad, how's it going? My Magic Brad friend is on. Brad is a magician, and he's also works with investors in Costa Rica as well as retreats for photographers. So you guys should connect with him on that. But I just sent him another thing. Him and I talk a lot about doing these live video feeds and how Blab used to be around. We used to be able to have a lot of us talk on there and stuff. So I just sent him a thing on Messenger because I saw on CNBC that you can actually add a lot of people to the chat on this new thing coming out. Stuck in Uptown. Yeah, the weather's pretty bad out there. I did a scope earlier on it, and I talked about it in this particular scope. And temperature is about 30 degrees. It is pretty bad out there, though, isn't it, Brad? 8 to 15 inches. I just actually opened Uber Eats, which I used a couple times one night for the first time about a week or two ago, and I liked it a lot. And I opened it up. It's like it shut down. They're just like, it's because of the weather. It doesn't. Nothing is available on Uber Eats right now. So yeah, Brad, I don't blame you. Actually, I shut off my last Periscope because I saw that people were going to get stuck, and I was kind of wondering, not sure ZXO what that means, but I'll just say it's sloppy out there. The roads are sloppy out there. How about that? And is it clear, or is just speculation on Amazon starting crypto? Johnny, the articles are using the word speculation at this point. The guy in the article, I think, is creating a narrative that he says, they've been reserving these cryptocurrency domains. It's something like Amazon cryptocurrency, Amazon cryptocurrencies, or something like that. Bazang, welcome. One of them had Ethereum. It was like Amazon Ethereum or something like that. But keep in mind, I remember a couple of them I reported a couple of months ago that they had that. And in this article, they're saying it's speculative at this point. They're like, I think domains are used for a higher purpose. So you would think that they would do it for something bigger than just taking cryptocurrency. So they thought, hey Michael, welcome. So they thought that it would have to be something bigger like an exchange, and they were just talking about how they could control that market, and that's what Amazon's really good at doing. Brad and I have actually worked on Amazon and worked on that platform in the past over in Uptown area, actually, where he's stuck right now. What has you out in Uptown, Brad? I bet you wish you were in Costa Rica right now at a photo retreat with a bunch of investors right now, and had the traveling accommodation set up. This would be the perfect time over 6 weeks to actually to be out taking photographs of stuff other than snow. But yeah, so if you guys want to connect, he's got some interesting 21-step programs in the internet world, as well as some pretty cool magic tricks, as well as some good stories about Costa Rica. Andrew Brown's on here a lot of the time, and his dad and I are real good friends, and he's been down to Costa Rica quite a few times as well. So for any of you guys that are in the warm weather right now, we're kind of jealous. Wish we were. Not move for 15 to 29 minutes because you were stuck. Yeah, the weather is, if you guys want to check my earlier scope, it was pretty bad. Hey, Prepper Soul, haven't seen you in a week or so. Maybe you've been on here. I've just been missing you. What's going on? Yeah, the snow out there. Yeah, you're just waiting on somebody. Yeah, I felt like when I was out there, I just felt like he was just going to be just helping everyone out of the snow for like 3 hours. But I was kind of wondering why anyone was leaving anywhere, you know. If Amazon would start a crypto and introduced it to their markets, it would be huge and accepted. Johnny, I agree with you. Yeah, I mean, I think anything at this point that they would do would be accepted because they're just so large. They control the market out there. There's something like 50% of all e-commerce online is all Amazon related. Yeah, I agree, and it would give a lot more. Hobo Jackson, good to see you. You're one of the super fans I have. Amazon gift cards is kind of like a store of value, right? KFC is accepting Bitcoin. Yeah, I saw that. It's kind of a publicity thing for now, at least. Hey, Hobo, good to see you back. But yeah, if Amazon accepted it, it would definitely be big news for sure. You know, Amazon is just such a huge marketplace right now, and it would increase the demand for Bitcoin as well. And I think Bitcoin price would go up as well. So I think, you know, Bitcoin would be closer and closer to a currency if you could use it at Amazon. I think it's also, you know, anything that raises its demand long term is a good thing as well. But there look like there's a few other good stories out there. Bitcoin commercial during Super Bowl, FanDuel Bitcoin commercial during the Super Bowl. Oh, there is going to be one. Have you already seen it? I have not seen it yet. I was too busy watching the Vikings get pounded from the Eagles yesterday. I actually couldn't even watch the last half. It was pretty bad. But there's other articles out there I want to talk to you guys. It sounds like the government shutdown might be over. Plus, it sounds like, yeah, it's good to see you, Hobo. I just call you Hobo for short. But there's another one that Ameritrade is going to be doing 24-hour trading now. And why do rich people hate Bitcoin? Mars Monk. In my opinion, it's because they don't fully understand it. They don't understand it. Doesn't have like a value, intrinsic value, like investments of their generation. And so they also have all their money in a different type of currency or a different type of investment asset, right? I didn't really catch that last one. Would people speculate on Amazon crypto or something like that? No, but I think the older generation grew up with different assets, and they have more intrinsic value. And I think people older than millennials, at least, that have a different, you know, stocks, real estate, all that stuff. Yeah, I think blockchain has value for sure, Brad. And I think people see it moving that direction. I think that to some degree, like a currency, the US dollar and everything else has value as long as people have confidence, as long as they believe it has value. You know, people in Venezuela lost confidence in it, and they ended up getting hyperinflation, and Zimbabwe ended up with the same thing, right? So we're in a situation right now where I think it needs to be more widely accepted and higher demand. Oh yeah, like hard drive space for sure. Like I think any kind of like hard drive tech and tangible stuff does. It's important that crypto is accepted in the retail, and Amazon could make that happen. Yeah, Amazon would be the gateway to making that happen for sure. Crypto's problem so far, and for sure Bitcoin, is they've been trying to get very well adopted into the whole mainstream, and Amazon would be their bridge to get there. And right now, you know, obviously people aren't taking it that serious. There's, you know, like the little stuff like the KFC taking Bitcoin and all that stuff, but a lot of people just obviously still don't use it. It seems really complicated to them. You know, the stock market doesn't necessarily seem that complicated. Real estate doesn't have to be complicated. Crypto, for such a easy trade in, trade out, all that stuff, that shouldn't be that complicated, right? Will Facebook and crypto soon? You know, that story from like 6 weeks ago where the Coinbase guy um, was going to be on the board of, or no, the head of Messenger was going to be on the board of Coinbase. Coinbase just, I think, it just came in the headline, just said they made over $1 billion last year, and they're actually asking the venture capitalists to stay away because they're doing so well. So that was also mentioned in this article about Amazon. Is just obviously there's a lot of money in the industry. Yep, then it may go. Yep, there's going to need to be a higher adoption rate, Brad. There's going to be a lot more people. Tacos welcome. There's going to need to be a lot more people accepting before it's taken more serious and adopted. And I've seen articles a month ago that said, hey, the needs to hit 1 million. Bitcoin needs to hit 1 million before it's treated as a real currency. Okay, traffic's moving now. Is it Lagoon all locked up over there in Uptown? That's nice that you can be on Periscope and also be out driving in traffic, or probably, hey, Whizzle Dizzle, welcome. Because it's just, yeah, it's pretty bad out there. I mean, the storm, I mean, what you might call it, the city plows are out there like all the time now. So thanks for coming on, Brad. And then you guys, yeah, the 24-hour trading with Ameritrade was pretty big news, TD Ameritrade. Hobo Jackson, welcome back again. John, I'm not a super big expert on short positions and stock market as well, if I go long term on it. I think you got to go long on the underlying technology with the blockchain and stuff. There's going to be a lot of volatility and some possible shorts, obviously. When I used to do the stock market about 20 years ago, I used to do shorts after something went up like 25%. Like I remember eBay went up like 23% one day. I went short the next day. It usually self-correct about 10% the next day, and I always did well when I did shorts in the stock market. So I think there's the idea of things that are being overbought, and I like to do some more scopes in the future about that. About how when I read zerohedge.com, they think a lot of these stocks are overbought, and they think a lot of this inflation from the quantitative easing and all the money printed out there is all hiding in the assets. That's where the inflation is. Do you think Amazon's going to start using coins? Yeah, if you're just joining us now, they've registered 3 domain names that are crypto-related. Ethereum is one of them. Some are speculating if they're going to take Bitcoin. Others are thinking that they could create their own exchange. It might just, Amazon, they're used to their own platform. They're used to their own creating their own supply and demand and having control of all of it, right? And they're big enough to do it, right? Future swap contracts. Yeah, because it's volatile, you could trade it long and short. Yeah, I don't know that much about it. If that's related to like doing options and stuff like that as well. When I was kind of like a swing trader. I wasn't quite a day trader back in the day. When I was younger, I was like 21. I had a lot of fun. I mean, but it was like probably every 3 to 6 days I would trade. But I remember looking at the ticker a lot and stuff and the streamer and stuff, and it was fun, but I don't want to get that involved in it where I have to literally like watch the numbers like every hour and every day. That's just too. I like long-term investing a little bit more, where you're building longer pipelines. It's why I like work on a lot of the marketing, and I work with people in the real estate business where we have people in the pipeline and people in our CRMs and stuff, customer relationship management. We have people in there for 6 months, a year, 2 years. It's not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, they get a nice commission when it's all said and done, but at least they see themselves working towards the goal and they have control over it, right? Whereas like some of this other volatility, I mean, you're just trying to time the cycles a lot, and that can be challenging, So you don't have to time the cycle so much. I do want to talk to you guys on some future scopes about what we might see in the real estate business, because in April of 2007, I kind of saw what was coming with the credit contraction with the whole real estate business. And you didn't really see it on the news with Lehman Brothers for 18 months later. So when a lot of that stuff you saw on like CNBC and like the stock market and everything, when it was like, oh my God, the stock market is going down and everything's losing value and going out of business, we saw that in the real estate business 18 months ahead of time. Some of us did. I mean, we saw the builders having trouble back even in 2005. So I think that is also where I'm going to pay attention to it this year. What I see is the typical person that owns a home, they just live in their house, right? They can sell 6 months or a year from now. They don't really care. They'll hold to their price. They got to make that payment anyways. But what happens in the real estate business world where you deal with builders, you got some builders who have their entire net worth in 10 houses in a whole like lot in a little area, and then they have like a subdivision, and then you have other builders that are bigger that have like 5,000 projects they're working on, and they play by different rules. They play by business. They play by cash flow. They're not independently wealthy. They're dealing with cash flow, but what ends up happening is a credit contraction when they go from 620 credit scores required to 700 scores, and they go from 3% down to 10% down. That's across the board. That happens on all their thousands of properties. So now all of a sudden the supply and demand shifts, and that will now compete with all the homeowners who are just like, I have one house. Well, it will compete with them now. It'll compete with all the speculators who are trying to flip houses that have only done a couple in their life, and they're just like, a lot of those down in, like, I'm not saying just in California, but like the ones that are flipping $700,000 houses and stuff. Oh, TRX is moving. Is it going back up from the 6 cents or whatever, or from 8.5 cents or whatever? Because that one really went down a lot, from 30 cents down to 5 cents. So that's kind of what happens. You'll see the builders just end up with all this extra supply, and they're just like, well, we're a business. We have to keep paying our contractors. We have to get rid of the supply, so we'll just cut some prices or something. Only trading and what? Johnny, I'm making more of a living from building an investor network of mentors, and I connect them with other people that are looking to work with them. But more specifically, I've had success with building marketing audiences and getting marketing leads for people in the real estate investing business. I'm joining the real estate clubs again. I haven't been there in about 10 years, and that was able to work really well for me as well, to hang around a lot of investors and help them in real estate as well. Why should you take gold more seriously than Bitcoin? From my experience, from what I've talked to my brother about, and my friend Jason, who's been with me in real estate for 16 years, he has a gold mining company, and I'm going to get him on one of these scopes in the future. It's tangible. And if you read back from the last 2,000 to 5,000 years of anything that's ever been a store of value, when the Rome and all these other economic, I don't know the word I'm looking for, different governments and everything else have shut down, or there's been volatility and empires or whatever you want to call it come and go over the years. Gold has always held its store of value and has kind of been the one thing people can count on over the last 2,000 to 5,000 years. So it's more tangible in that way. I'm definitely not an expert on gold. It seems to be a hedge against, when the US dollar looks like it's depreciating, for example. And a lot of the reason the cryptocurrency is around, is because it's a hedge of value. It's people are afraid that their money and their savings and their assets and their stocks and everything's going to get inflated away, and so people have retirements. They're trying to retire, and they're afraid of that, and they're afraid that US dollars, maybe they're afraid it's going to see some kind of hyperinflation, so they want to diversify, and they want to put a store of value somewhere else. Hey, Merbs, good to see you back. You're the #2 super fan. And that's why they're doing it. So people are diversifying, especially when you get in the last 5, 10, 15 years before you're about to retire. You can't have hyperinflation. You can't inflate your assets, inflate your retirement. Hyperinflation is what number? I don't know if you're asking, like, when do we know it's hyperinflation? It hasn't happened in the U.S. or anything like that, but if you want to read up on Zimbabwe, or if you want to read up on Venezuela, the Zimbabwe one, the money went to, it went to like the sextillion amount, which is like, 15 zeros or something like that. These people are just, view block user. I'll actually get back on when I'm done with some of these trolls here.